Welcome to Cowgirl Talk, where we empower you to live authentically through real food, real talk, and real life. Sisters brought together by our love of cows. We're your host, Emily, a dairy lover and personal trainer living in Florida.
And Becca, a corporate cowgirl holding down the family fort in Pennsylvania. Let's go, cowgirls!
Hello, and welcome back to Cowgirl Talk. Today's episode is all things dairy, as Becca and I are going to do just a fun little recap about World Dairy Expo. So we talked about going to World Dairy Expo, and probably I feel like the last 2 or so episodes because we get so excited about it. And so it's always fun to go, but then recap it as well and relive it. And because we were at World Dairy Expo, which is all about dairy, all about innovation, all the cool new things about the industry, we also thought it would be fun then to talk about some really awesome trends that we're seeing with dairy and even just some new innovative products that we're seeing with dairy. So tying a couple of those things in together, and we thought it'd be a really fun episode. But before we dive into, of course, all of the fun dairy things, we got to do our high, lows, and buffaloes. And I would say collective low, and just a heads up, is that what we like to call it is when you go to cow shows, you kind of get like the cow show cred, just like from traveling. So you make it a little bit of a sniffly nose, a little bit of a sore throat. So if you hear that going on, mind your business. That's what's going on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I always have the sniffles.
Yeah, y'all are
and
like, oh, we know.
Yeah, everyone's like, okay. And I'm going to try my best to mute myself if I have to blow my nose.
Yummy.
And we're recording, again, as always. This is I think I'm going to start calling this our morning job or like our morning show because we're always recording.
Oh, this is our version of the Today Show, except the early bird gets the worm.
Oh, because because we have day jobs and we've got to get this done early. So yeah, it's like not only we have the morning gravelly voice and then the crud and then just who I am as a person.
This is just me existing. But no, it's good though because I don't love waking up early. I mean, some people literally consider themselves morning people, like Ruben.
I don't.
Yeah, me either. So this is good though because it forces me to get up, get out. And I almost treated this like, you know how the morning or the night before a morning flight, you wake up so early or many times because you're afraid of missing the flight. That happened to me last night. I was like afraid of missing the podcast and I kept waking up. And I was like, gosh, I'm treating this like a flight.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too, obviously. I'm not waking up like 5 minutes before we record.
Yeah. She did wake up, about 20-ish, so we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think...
Brain still computing.
My brain... I had a thought, and then it's just gone.
We're not very useful in the morning.
No. Oh, no. It came back. It's like, no, wait. Wait for me.
I'm really excited to hear it now. Let's see what it is.
Oh, no, it's a letdown. I was like in my head thinking, I'm a mid-morning person. So I like waking up. But I'm a nice 7:30 girl. You know? So I still have my morning. It's kind of how I like fair weather. I don't like it to be super hot. I don't like it to be super cold.
Yeah.
I like a nice 65 to 72 degrees.
I can see that. I like that. If I had it my way, I feel like, I mean, I don't, 'cause, we got to get shit done, but I could sleep legit forever. I mean, I know some people just, I naturally wake up. Like, nah. If no one's waking me up, I could sleep late. I don't know what it is, but that's me. But if we talk about sleep too much, I think we might fall back asleep, even though I've already had a cup of coffee.
Look at that transition.
We're getting better at this, guys. So, something that we get really excited about and that can keep us awake is with our high. I feel like our high, low, buffalo, well, the lows in buffalo are a little bit different, but both of our highs were World Dairy Expo. And this is something that, shout out to our listeners, Becca's going to call them out, but I feel like a lot of people who listen may already know what World Dairy Expo is, and if not, this is where it'll be nice to do a little recap. And I think for me, why World Dairy Expo is such a high, so this is in Madison, Wisconsin. Becca and I were there, kind of a mix between like Tuesday to Thursday. I was there till Saturday morning, and it's just something that I get so excited about because, yes, there's like the best dairy cows in the world. They're beautiful. There's a lot of technology, a lot of good food, but honestly, I just love going to see the people, right? Because as you get older, there's just not many things that bring people together in that capacity. And with the dairy industry, you just meet so many people from across the country. So your friend group, and even just like your acquaintance group, continues to grow, right? So like, how are you going to see people like that? And that's where going to World Dairy Expo, you just see so many people. You get to catch up with so many people. And that's honestly always what gets me so excited. And just what I love most, I would say, about World Dairy Expo.
Yeah. And I feel like this year, maybe 90%. I probably got to see about 90% of the people I wanted to. I actually just realized, oh my God, I never texted Lori back while I was there to go get that coffee.
Like keeping a list of like, oh darn it.
Yeah, because I mean, I have to just like keep a list of people to check off, or, you know, everyone. I have my core group that I schedule my lunches or my breakfasts with, and then the rest of my list, I like list out events that they're going to be at to make sure I at least walk past it to give a PowerPoint or like a quick, hey, what's up? But some of our fans that we saw there, that was just, it's so funny. People are like, oh yeah, I have you on auto download. Actually, that was Lynn, who works, she works at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, I believe.
Ooh.
If I get that wrong, my apologies.
Call us
She
out.
also works for, please, she also works for Dairy Girl Network, part-time, like as a freelancer.
Uh-huh.
And she has it on auto, or she listens to it first thing in the morning. Like, she must have sent a screenshot of our Dairy Girl Network episode to Amanda, who is on it, at like 6:30 a.m. She's like, oh, good job. So people are waking up, they're listening. And then I also want to say hello to Sam. Literally, she watches, so now I'm like, oh, okay, what tick am I doing today? Am I messing with my headphones? Am I touching my nose? But yeah, she always watches with her dog Dempsey and her daughter Izzy, which is so cute. And we also got to meet her husband Patrick, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the Mimoser family. And then Rachel, which was awesome. We actually ended up buying friendship bracelets at the Bovine Boutique. These like kind of really cool gold Western bracelets. And I convinced
You're all about them.
I convinced her to let me have one of the big bead bracelets because she wanted both. But I was like, oh, wouldn't it be so cute if we had matching ones? So thanks, Rachel, for giving into that. And then the other Rachel was also there from Zimpro. Shout out Lindsay. Well, I'm going to do Lindsay and Eliza together because even though... So Lindsay's about to be a CEO, crazy boss lady. And then Eliza is also one of the coolest chicks I worked with at Zimpro. And they're actually friends, which I never realized. So I met them in different... You know, they were college roommates, and they can't make the Dairy Girl Network conference because they're going on their 40th birthday trip together.
Oh my gosh, well, how fun. And I know them as well through Dairy Girl Fitness and then also through other dairy industry things. But that, I would say, out of all the reasons to not be able to go to the Dairy Girl Network event, that sounds like a pretty fun one.
Yeah, so shout out to some of our biggest fans. Obviously, you're not bigger than our mom and our Aunt Kathy, but you're close.
And now I know as well, Monica, my sister-in-law, is catching up on Cowgirl Talk. She sent me a Snapchat, like, I swear I'm listening. So shout out to the groupies. We really appreciate it. But yeah, that's one of my favorite parts as well. And I got to say, second to all the people is the food that we get to eat. So I think some of my favorites, of course, are the grilled cheese. And then I feel like it's become a staple at this point. There's so many good restaurants and steakhouses in Madison, Wisconsin. But one that we go to every year, and we hit up this year, is Johnny Delmonico's.
It's so good. Yeah, they, and plus it's really, I don't like eating late in normal life. I'm 5:30, 6 o'clock, like, let's eat and then rot on the couch together before we have to work again. But yeah, at Expo, it's so fun. We had our dinner at 8 o'clock at night. It was me, Ruben, and his parents, which is, I still crack up that I'm going to dinner with your in-laws, and it's like a totally normal thing. It just shows how cows like just create. It's an entirely different like little world of people and connections and relationships. And we got the delicious steak. Emily got a wedge salad that was
ginormous,
bigger than her face.
It was so big.
Some delicious wine. But yeah, I would say we're very judgmental against beef in the sense of...
I'm a steak snob, I call myself.
Yeah, we are pro all kinds of beef, but when it comes to like a fillet specifically, we don't fucks around with the weak stuff.
No, we
want
got
the good
spoiled
stuff.
For just like, not even that. I mean, we grew up eating whatever, but I just remember having a fillet, like at a Hoss's. So any of our Pennsylvania people, like you'll know, oh, Hoss's,
like Hamburger Helper was like the bougie thing when we were kids. But I mean, it's just whenever it comes to eating steak out at a restaurant, and
like, I'd rather if I'm gonna have a steak, I want it to be a fillet. And our shout out to our dad for that one. And he wasn't able to make it this year to Expo, which he goes every single year. So
it's like his first time in 20 years missing it. People thought he died.
Well, yeah, 'cause Steve Shaw is always at Expo, and so that'll be like the One Love Expo. But he made us do a play-by-play, basically, of our Johnny Delmonico's meal to send him like pictures of all the food we were eating. So that was a fun way to still get to pretend like he was there to give him our play-by-play of Johnny Delmonico's. And but that was my favorite food experience.
I agree. I'm still sad that they took away the bourbon rice and beans.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're the only ones that remember that.
Whoever's listening that can help us make that happen again, please bring it back. Please.
It was a food stand in the part where
good.
Like all the tractors and such are. And it was bourbon chicken, beans, and rice. And it was so good. And I feel like they had it 2 or 3 years and then it disappeared.
Yeah, so people think we're crazy because we talk about this every year.
It happened.
Please bring it back.
It was
the powers that be of World Dairy Expo food court.
Literally.
Bring it back. And then I would say, okay, there's more than just eating there, ish. So I go in a very unique way. So we started going to World Dairy Expo for vacation and for fun. And then I spent probably, 9-8 years going as like a corporate girly, working a booth, planning the booth. I mean, at my first job, World Dairy Expo was my thing at work. I was playing Tetris with hotel rooms, like figuring out where people would stay, how we could get customers in, what kind of giveaways are we going to have at our booth. You know, what customers or prospects can we draw in? So there's a cow show there, and then there's a vendor trade show there, and there's a lot of professional events like webinars, virtual farm tours. There's a dairy products contest where they like award cheeses in different categories, buttermilks, milks, powders, whatever. But now, so who I work for now, it's more of a regional focus, so it doesn't make sense to go to World Dairy Expo on behalf of the company because we don't have a booth there, and a lot of our farmers, some of our farmers are there. It actually ended up, I got to represent my company as well, but I primarily go representing Dairy Girl Network, which is a lot. It's just it's a totally new way for me to experience World Dairy Expo, which I really enjoyed the last 2 years. So, our company. So my professional job, we actually my day job, let's call it that. We did go through a rebrand, and that happened on the first day of Expo. And it's just we're shifting how we're approaching the market across our full business. And a lot of people saw the LinkedIn post and stopped me to talk about it. So that was
very
great.
Cool.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of our farmers there. I got to go steal a few of their beers and, like, catch up with them. I saw one of our board members wearing a new, like, hat that we sent out. He's like,
that's
oh
cool.
my God, what's up, Beck? And it was just, like, cool. So I was like, okay, this is good. So this, like, relates to the day job. And then for Dairy Girl Network, I know Emmy has been getting even more involved in it.
Yep.
Because I've been dragging her in.
Well, it's always fun. And I've got to support the sis, too.
Yeah. And so we had 3 things there. The family lounge, which was, I met a couple of people just walking throughout, and we're talking about having to pump. And I was like, have you ever heard of the family lounge? They're like, oh my God, no.
Like, I'm not eavesdropping, but...
Yeah, like, I'm literally, my ears are on high alert whenever I hear pump baby or kids screaming. My alarm's like, wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo.
I can help you.
And so that's where they have kind of stalls, let's call them, some privacy for pumping or breastfeeding.
Cool.
But they also have the play area for kids. So there were toddlers up there. They have snacks, water, Expo TV, so you can still watch the show, etc.
Wow.
So yeah, it was good. So that went really well, and like people, it's really starting to catch wind. Then we had a meeting with some people to help us, mine some more information for our strategic planning, which was great. We had the Connect event on Wednesday night.
Yes, that was so
which was
fun.
amazing. Yeah, that's like one of our highlights every year. So Wednesday, Emmy and I, one of the easiest ways to catch up with people we're maybe not more directly in a relationship with, I guess you could say. It's people that you like know in passing.
Well, yeah,
or you
like,
follow each other on social media, right? Like,
yeah.
we're not texting. We're not friends. We're not friends or previous coworkers or peers that have interaction with each other much beyond social media or Expo. So I know, Emmy, you're like a freaking celebrity. Anytime I need something, I take Emily with me. Or I say, oh, hey, are you coming to the Connect event tonight? And this one gal was like, maybe. I said, well, I'm Dairy Girl Fitness's sister, right? She goes, oh my God, you do kind of look like her. I'm like, yeah, well, she's going to be there tonight. And her face like got red. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it's fun to meet internet friends in real life. And yeah, the event's always fun because, like you said, when you're at Expo, I mean, you're really scoping out the people that you know, so you can catch up with them. But it is fun then to step outside of your comfort zone to force yourself to meet other people. So even with, being on Dairy Girl Fitness and, meeting people and always like putting myself online, I still get nervous when I have to meet new people in real life. And so at the event, they did a cheese passport. So there's different stations for different countries with different types of cheese creations. And it was so fun. And then afterwards, a lot of people were sitting down. And I was like, oh my God, who am I going to sit with? And so I sat down at the table with a group of ladies that some had followed me, some had not, like from 40 Ag. And then there were some ladies from Canada. And it was just a fun way to get to connect with everyone in a way that you usually wouldn't, right? Because it's fun to stay in your own little bubble sometimes, but it's also fun to push yourself out of it.
Yeah. So I think France was the universal favorite cheese pairing there. It was a black
delicious.
pepper sartori cheese with orange zest, a raspberry, and a meringue. Like a little mini
It was
meringue.
like a dessert.
It was so good.
Very good.
And so, yeah, that was the Connect event. And the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin organization did a great job. They brought in their chef who was so passionate about the pairings.
Yeah.
Like, she was really going for it, and I loved it.
We're here
And
for the
then
cheese.
That, like, went nicely into the Friday Tambark talk, which Tambark is a building at this event where there's a bar, there's food, there's a stage, and it had some really amazing women on the panel who have had a voice at an international level for U.S. dairy. Like, one gal, Krista Harden.
She's a Georgia girl. She grew up not far,
Oh, did
apparently,
she
from
really?
Ribbons Farm.
Well, so she
Camilla,
worked...
Georgia.
Oh, so she was in the, I'm pretty sure during the Obama administration worked for Secretary of Ag Vilsack. And
Very
she is the
cool.
one who changed, now we're about to get nerdy,
Yes.
but on the U.S. Census of Agriculture,
Yep.
they ask information about one primary operator on farms. So that was primarily filled out by males, right? Because maybe so then she helped influenced it to change to have more than one primary operator, because that's how farms work. So now we have a better understanding of how many women truly are in leadership on dairy farms, which is like a really big deal.
Yeah, and she said that only happened in 2014. I mean, that's recent.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy.
Em got to go to that. I was already
Yeah.
home. I was like, I've got 3 days in me out here. Then I got to get home. But Em got to attend that talk,
Yeah,
which is
it was a
pretty
very cool talk. And I'm an emotional person, and it's so cheesy. I don't know why I get that way, but it's very cool for me to see women just do things that they're passionate about and get excited about that, and advocate for other women and find ways to uplift other women. And it was very cool to listen to all these women in different stages of life, different stages of their career, involved in the dairy industry in different capacities. I mean, there was a dairy farmer from the Netherlands, which my family-in-law, they're Dutch, so it was cool to see that, but she's in Michigan now. You know, there's another one on the DMI board, Krista Harden, and then others just involved in different ways. And I actually went to the event with another dairy girl from Georgia, Eliza, and she's obsessed with Krista Harding. So it was cool to be able to go see her speak. And then also at the end, I got called out to ask a question, and I didn't realize there was going to be an opportunity for questions at the end, so my mind was not working in that way. So when I got called out, I just started talking, and I was like, I have no idea where this is going to go, but luckily I thought of something, and it led into a really cool conversation.
Yeah. Oh, you're now in the inner circle. You're always going to get called on. So
I know.
Fully be prepared.
I started it with just, again, talking about how amazing of a talk it was, and then I literally said, I don't really have a question, but... And then I thought of a question, and it was about imposter syndrome. Because, I mean, when you're in the room with anyone, but especially women in dairy, who have such impressive resumes, that's what I asked. Like, hey, you guys are obviously insanely impressive. How do you continue making sure that you show up for yourself in that way? And, it was a cool conversation. How do you work under a president of the United States and have confidence in what you're recommending they do? It was very fun to listen to the conversations and just different ways that you can get involved and the different roles that you can play, but how they're all equally important in different ways. Yeah.
And then I guess the last thing I'll say about Expo, because people who went will understand this. People who didn't go, this is like as juicy and as drama filled as it gets. But I think someday we should maybe have someone on the podcast to talk about the craziest media crisis that's ever happened at World Dairy Expo. So I think literally the dairy industry broke the internet because they were going to... You can watch the Expo Dairy Show from a free account on worlddairyexpo.com. And people from all over the world will stream this event to watch the shows, hear what the judges have to say. And this year, Expo announced that you would have to pay for it very close to the start of the event. Like, people did not have much warning. And there are many aspects to this story, but the one I will say is that the dairy community literally broke the internet.
Yeah, people were in an uproar about this.
People were in an uproar. And then, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then it came back and it wasn't paid for. But I am reserving my opinion other than, wow.
We're unbiased.
That was just like a crazy thing to witness the whole thing happen. Maybe someday we'll get someone who was a part of that decision on the Expo board or executive board. Because I texted my one of my greatest friends and mentors, and I said, oh my God, what's happening? And he said, if you want my opinion, I'll come on the Cowgirl Talk podcast and talk about it. So I'll have to ask him how serious he was about that. Yeah, that would be funny.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. So, but other than that, I mean, Expo does an amazing job. I think they said they had like 400 volunteer and staff that help put on the event, and
that's amazing.
It is a beast, and they do a really, really amazing job.
It is incredible, and I do say is one of my highs before we move on as well is that, again, part of it is the cow show, and Ruben, my husband, he owns part of a senior 3-year-old Holstein cow. She came from Canada, and she placed 3rd in her class, which is, I mean, that's a huge deal, and it was just so
massive
cool.
deal.
And the whole time I was just like nervous and shaking. And I thought, how do people do this all the time? Because there's, different people can win, but there definitely is a circle of people that, their whole thing is breeding, buying good cows so they can win at Expo. And I'm just like, how do people just stay at this level all the time? I'm just a nervous wreck with one cow and getting third. I can't imagine just having that expectation all of the time.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so shout out to probably 2 more people on how they did.
Oh, yes.
So Em and Amy Yiser, new last names. Shout out to their husbands. They have been working really hard on their brown Swiss herd, and a highlight for them, I know, is their one heifer placed second in a class. There's an amazing picture of them hugging and crying after it happened, so that was really cool. And then Josh and Casey Hushon, they had a great day. They had a lot of brown Swiss and Ayrshires there.
Yep.
But the one Ayrshire that they're a part of won junior champion, which means they got to walk in the big Supreme champion pageant, which you get like a banner thrown over your animal. You walk in the spotlight, like it's a whole production. And there's this epic photo of Casey where she's walking in and it's kind of behind her, and you can see the spotlight starting to like kind of come on her in the background, and it's just so glamorous. And it's like cool that, we know people who get to experience this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because it's hard to win. It's a lot of places,
so
but
hard
World
to
Dairy
win.
Expo is very insanely competitive. So to see
Yeah.
people that really put in a ton of work to get there, it's even cooler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now we have to come down and talk about our lows and our buffaloes quick. So I'll talk about mine quick because it's just part of living in Florida. Is we have another hurricane coming in, which
I saw that the mayor of Tampa Bay said, if you don't leave, you will die. I was like, that's I guess one way to get people to evacuate.
So we're not going to be here for it. We're driving up to Georgia for the Georgia State Fair, which I'll talk about next week. But it's the traffic on the highway. I know it's been bumper to bumper, everyone trying to get out. And again, we're in the middle of the state, so we'll get rain and wind, but luckily we don't get a lot of the insane damage. So just pray for Florida on that front. I don't know how the places that are getting hit literally just got hit. So it's sad to see, but I don't know. I guess I'm hoping maybe it doesn't get stronger, at least. But
hopefully it dies down, because like even changing course, it just hits somewhere else and it's still sad. So hopefully it just like kind of like dies in the ocean.
I know. So that's absolutely wild. Shout out to Milton for being a douchebag and trying to ruin Florida.
That's the hurricane's name for those who don't know.
Yes, that's the hurricane, not like any specific person. And then a buffalo randomly would be, I guess I'm now a Dancing with the Stars fan. I don't watch it like maybe all the time, but I have been tuning in, and it's just so fun to watch, and it makes me happy watching people try something new and have fun with it.
Yeah. You should text Aunt Kathy and Gigi about it.
Do they watch it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Gigi asked Aunt Kathy when I saw them this weekend. She was like, oh, did you watch it last week?
Oh, okay. I'll definitely have to reach out.
Yeah. I would say, which actually, so that's I'll go backwards. My buffalo is that I got to see, it's kind of a high, but it's buffalo. Buffalo is a category we couldn't fit it in anywhere else. We got to go, every year we go, well, for the last 2 years, I go with our Graham, our Aunt Kathy, our mom, and then my sister Erin and her husband and kids to Hershey Park. So because they do like a spooky night. Mind you, we're never going in early October ever again.
Is it chaos?
Yeah, it was awful.
Dang.
It's so many people. So we're going back in late October again. But at the end of it, the whole reason we went again was because the haunted house last year was so good.
Oh.
And like even our Graham was having the heck of it, like the best time. But we thought like the one we went to last year was kind of exposed, so there was still some light, so we could still see things, but it was scary. This time we went in the coal mine,
Oh,
completely
gosh.
dark.
Oh.
When I tell you, Graham and Aunt Kathy, we had to like force them to move through this thing because it was so dark. And it had
gosh.
one of those things where, have you ever been, it's like, they're like black, I don't even, it's like a tunnel of these black things you have to walk through.
Yeah, where it feels like you're almost in a garbage bag where it presses
Yeah.
in on you.
Yeah, like you're claustrophobic. We were like, oh my God, somebody
no.
get Aunt Kathy.
Oh, no. Yeah, because I think it's just probably air blowing those bags in, but it feels like you
Yeah.
are going through like you're trying to squeeze out of a tube.
Yeah. So Alex and I were together in the front because I literally had my hands gripping his shirt because he was trying to run through. I was like, listen here, you little mother tricker.
You can't run away from us
You
right
can't
now.
run. And so he and I were going through. I'm like, Alex, if we both punch it at the same time, it gives us more like room to walk. So he and I were punching our way through it. And then they had this one area where they had smoke and a green laser, and it literally looked like you were in swamp water. It
Oh my
was
gosh.
the craziest mind illusion. Yeah, whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
illusion.
I think. And then there was one where this guy hopped out with a pail and banged it, like with
Oh
a
my
stick.
God.
I literally peed my pants.
That's hilarious.
Because we stood in line for a while, and I was like,
Oh,
guys,
no.
this is not good. I think I have to pee.
And I will on myself.
But that was my buffalo. It was just a lot of fun to do that with the family, and it gives us something to talk about for the rest of the night. And then my low would be poor little Phoebes has kennel
Becca's
cough.
dog.
Yeah. That's why she's in her crate, because I was tired of her butthole being on camera and she's hacking. So that's, you have enough of our sniffles. You don't need my dog's sniffles too. So she's on the mend. She was really bad Sunday night, but yesterday she was better, and this morning I heard one cough, but that's it so far. So you can't really
Sending
do
her
anything
good
about
vibes.
it.
Yeah, just have to let
and
it run
even
its
her
course.
nose was like running a little bit, and she just
Yeah.
looked sad. I was like, oh, sweet little girl.
Nice and crusty. Yum.
Oh,
Well, that's a great way to, now let's talk about dog snot into food. So that's a yum. So just pretend we forgot, or forget we talked about that. Like, let's clear a moment. And now we're going to talk about less gross things. If you love dairy, of course, this is going to be one of your favorite parts. But like we talked about within our dairy, or in our World Dairy Expo recap, is that we just get very excited when we're there. And it's just full of people who are very passionate about the dairy industry. And it's a place that just reminds me how grateful I am to be a part of the dairy industry. And again, just something that I get very excited for, because there's so many different ways that people talk about innovation and different ways that we can continue to move forward. And so, and even as you said, Becca, right, there's different dairy food contests, right? There's so many different ways to celebrate dairy and talk about how we're moving forward with it. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of share some different dairy products and even different trends that are adding a unique spin to dairy or are just kind of pushing it forward right now. And so I thought it would be fun first, kind of two different categories to this, of trends with dairy that we're loving to see right now or that are just very, very popular. And, you know, trends come and go, but I feel like these are some that have been around for quite a bit. And I'll start with two that I've been loving. Is whole milk is making a comeback, baby. And I still don't know if people are just like drinking casually a glass of milk like we do. I mean, Ruben and I will just drink a glass of milk. I know not everyone does that, but I know whole milk in coffee shops. Shout out to the coffee shops and all the lattes that people are drinking, because I think that is huge for dairy. And again, whole milk is just having its moment. And it's even funny for the people who maybe are lactose intolerant. They're like, I'm willing to almost like poop my pants for this whole milk latte.
Not me.
You get to have milk in so many other ways. So people are willing to do that. I'm like, hell yes for dairy. And then cottage cheese is still having its moment. I feel like it's been having its moment for quite a while. And it's not the weird like grandparents' food anymore. It is versatile and cool and amazing. So I would love to hear how you utilize those things.
Well, so cottage cheese, I feel like, is beyond its moment and is now starting to cement its place
in history.
In the refrigerator. Like, it has a permanent spot in history. No, it's in the refrigerator.
Yes, which is just as good.
Yeah, people have found, like, that's a good example of a trend that I think showed people how this is a part of your everyday life. It's not something that's special or unique. It's just a really good staple to have. One thing I cannot get behind is cottage cheese ice cream.
I haven't seen. People like blending it.
I tried that and I was like, literally, this is so gross, and they're lying to you. The internet is lying. The internet decided collectively this is cool. They're lying. Yeah, we have a better solution for that later, next on the list. So, but I love that cottage cheese. Yeah, it's a staple. It's
that's true.
So I love that trend is evolving into that. And then whole milk, I mean, it's the same thing with these higher fat creams. People want protein and fat from like natural animal sources. Yeah. That trend is still alive and well. And I think that people are realizing the benefits of it and the benefits of the fat that it brings to them. Because it's not like it's 99% fat. It's like under 4%, right? So it's whole milk is as close as you can get to like straight from the udder. Yeah. Which we don't recommend unless you're a farmer. So I think that whole milk is really, it gets people back to like milk as naturally as it can be. Though all milks are amazing, depending on your diet preferences or honestly your taste preferences, because I use whole milk in my coffee. Oh. And to cook. But I use 2% in my cereal and if I want to have a glass. Because it's just a little more crisp.
Yeah, when you haven't had whole milk in a while, because someone who will drink maybe 2% or even low fat or fat free, it's still milk. I know people are like, come on, Em. But it's just something that works for me to, so I can consume my calories from fat elsewhere. But once you go back to that whole milk, it's like, oh my God, this is so creamy. This is so good. Yeah. And it just, of course, people in the dairy industry and dairy farmers themselves have been talking about whole milk forever. But just takes, a bougie lifestyle influencer to drink some whole milk lattes, which again, that might be something that's like frustrating to people, but whatever works, right? I'm all in support of whoever wants to support dairy and talk about it. We got to do and lean into whatever works. So I think those are two really cool things.
I agree. And then,
do you have a train in the background?
Yeah, can you hear that?
Yeah, what is that? Becca,
oh my God.
It sounds like Becca's a railroad right behind her house.
We're right next to like this crazy intersection and these big trucks. It must now have
trains running through it.
No, well there is a train, but
that was a semi.
I think it was a semi. Probably realizing they weren't going to make the red light or the green light. Okay, well sorry you had to listen to that. That was nuts.
For everyone hear it in the background.
No, sometimes you'll hear even the fart can cars going by like brah, brah, brah.
I thought you meant
whenever
like
I listen
farts.
back.
I was like, I'm not gonna if I'm gonna do anything, it's gonna be silent while I'm recording the podcast. Thank you. So
anyways, okay, so moving
on.
Instead of cottage cheese ice cream, I prefer the Ninja creamy ice cream trend, which you do a lot, and I love that you truly can have a healthy treat, because ice cream is not a health staple.
As balanced, right? It's dairy,
so if
but
you want something, it's like the Ninja Creamy gives people a way to consume more protein or like just, I love it. We got one for the wedding. We haven't been able to use it yet
because of space constrictions.
Yeah, we literally have nowhere to put it. I think that we might change our minds here soon because you keep posting good recipes and other people do. But yeah, I think it gives people a fun way to eat ice cream and like engage and have an experience with dairy in a way that's fun.
Yeah, and I will say, there's so many cool creations, and for a lot of the creations I see, dairy is the main base. Some people will mix in a cup of milk and maybe a cup of like an almond milk or something like that, or almond juice. But I do very often, for the most part, see dairy incorporated, which is so, so cool. And yeah, I made last week or 2 weeks ago, a pumpkin spice cookie one, and it was delicious. And another very popular one is a lot of people will just use a protein shake. So whether that's like a Premier or a Fairlife or whatever other protein shake that you would like, they'll use that as the base. So it's a great way to, again, you're consuming more dairy, but you're doing it in a fun way. So I feel like it encourages people to eat more of it. And I know people can make, just normal ice cream creations, but I feel like a lot of people do use it as a fun way to eat more protein, which I do think as well is one of the trends that we'll continue seeing to be more important within everyone's diet, but also within dairy, right? We've always known that dairy is awesome for protein. It's an easy source of protein. It's convenient. It's a natural source, and it's a complete source. So it's a very high quality source of protein. And I think that'll continue to just be something that more dairy products realize, oh, this is what people want. Like, we already have the protein, but now let's really lean into it and market it. And that's even where, I think cottage cheese has become so popular. It's a very neutral way, like neutral tasting way to add in more protein to a lot of meals. So I think that's as a nutritionist and a health and fitness coach, I love pushing dairy for the protein side of it, and I love to see more people are realizing that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of dairy companies are realizing how can we enhance our products further. So enhancing it from its natural state, and a lot of people will add in probiotics. A big conversation right now is fiber.
Oh.
I really think fiber
into dairy.
Because I think fiber is really the only thing that milk is missing.
Yeah, and fiber
if
is
you talk
also...
about like nature's most nearly perfect food is milk, I don't think it has fiber.
No, it does not.
Yeah, so people are now starting to think through things like that of what can we add to this beverage. And I think people are, in addition to the protein and like recovery and fueling aspect of milk and dairy, they're now promoting and working through the gut health aspect, because people are obsessed with the gut right now. And I mean, the gut's important, right? And a lot of people, I think this is only going to continue to grow, especially with the trends that, like, not to get political, but RFK is like starting. He's real like this whole Make America Healthy Again. No matter who wins, I think that's a message that's going to stick. And a lot of that is gut health and natural sources or whole sources of these foods and nutrients. So I think that protein and gut health are going to continue being good ones.
Yes.
And part of that is also the lactose-free element of products. So it's going from, I think we're expanding beyond just lactose-free, and now kind of the Fairlife train of a health-enhanced product.
Yeah, that's a good way to talk about a health enhanced, because again, we know dairy is fantastic, but it's trying to get even more bang for your buck, and I know the health enhanced products do become more expensive, but just giving people, I think, another reason to buy dairy or to want to buy dairy, because ultimately you look at all the other alternatives, and I think people that drink them for the most part now just drink them because they like them, but they just don't compare health-wise to
they're
dairy
oil
products.
and sugar.
Yeah, they just don't compare, and any nutrients that they have to be added in there, which again, if you like it, that's fine, but I think people are realizing that dairy is just a naturally occurring powerhouse, and a nutrient powerhouse, as I would say we like to call it. But yeah, I would say the lactose-free. Now there's even more like A2 milk products, which is another way for people with sensitivities to consume dairy. And I have to shout out my friend Kara. She's even leaning more into that with her Guernsey cows and their products. So it's just very cool to see people be innovative in that way. And I would say, those are trends that I think we'll continue to see. And like you said, then maybe not become trends anymore, but just be a normal and solid part of people's diet.
Yeah. And more people are doing it, and competition benefits the consumer. So, now that more brands are getting out there and doing these things, it gives us more, it gives the shopper more options in the grocery store, and it influences people to buy more dairy products for different reasons. So
true.
I buy plain milk for one thing, and I buy health enhanced products for another thing. And I buy cottage cheese for another, and yogurt for another. So it's really just giving people reasons to put even more in their cart.
Ooh, that's a very good point, and not something I thought of as someone who already buys like so much dairy, right? But speaking on then moving into kind of like new innovative products, a few that I think of when I think of protein added as like health enhancements. So Greek yogurt is already something that has a ton of protein, but something that I've seen more often now is there's a brand, and I think there's other brands, but like Oikos has their higher protein one. I know, what is it called? Ratio yogurt.
Ratio is so good.
Yeah, and
Oh
it
my
has
God.
like 25 grams of protein per,
But they don't even
5
call
ounces.
it yogurt. So I actually
I
need
know,
to look
because it's
this
some
up.
sort of, it's still dairy, but yeah, it's like, they must process it in a different way.
It's kind of like how the Fairlife Core Powers and nutrition plans aren't milk. Because
Yeah, like they call themselves a dairy product, but...
Yeah, because it's an adulterated product, which sounds bad. It's not. That's just a scientific term.
Yeah.
Trigger
It's just
warning.
processed in a different
Trigger
way.
warnings, scientific term. But it's like they take it from its state and then put things back together in
Yeah.
a certain way.
Yeah.
The Ratio yogurt is called a dairy like product or a dairy treat or something, and I don't know if that's just a marketing thing or if that's because of the way that they add in the protein. So we actually, that's a follow-up for Cowgirl Talk, is why is Ratio not called yogurt?
Yeah, because I feel like FDA is pretty flexible with labels that you can put on things that they want to be able to call it yogurt.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, like how oat and almond, all that's able to be called milk, right? So,
Oh, well, that's totally different. That they're flexible in some places and super strict in other.
okay,
and it
well,
also
food
depends.
scientists reach out to us, because I know then another high protein product would be like Painterland Skier yogurt, which that is true yogurt, because as they explained to us, they're like kind of filtering it out, but it's all the same milk and like protein staying in from that product. So those are very cool, I would say, protein added products on the yogurt side of things, or yogurt or dairy product of whatever you want to call
Yogurt-esque.
Yogurt-esque product. And other ones I would say, of course, Fairlife is a very obvious one. I feel like they very much started the trend on health enhancements to dairy products, especially lactose-free, more protein. I know Fairlife has less carbs too, but if y'all know, Becca's always been a Lactaid stan. She's like one of their OG fans, and she's always has liked it because, of course, lactose-free, but you've also said it tastes really good. And
Their white milk is bomb.
Yes, and I can back Becca up on this now, because Publix 2 weeks ago or so literally had like no milk. It was wild. They said, okay, just ask us, we'll get it out of the back. So it just wasn't restocked yet. And one of the products left was Lactaid protein milk. So I was like, okay, what's this? It is the equivalent to Fairlife in terms of it's lactose-free, same amount of protein. It does have a little more carbs. That just wasn't one of the features compared to Fairlife. And we tried it, though. It's so freaking good. We, like, chunked it's like a half gallon compared to Fairlife, too.
So these brands are a little tricky. Like, Fairlife and Lactaid, it's not a full half gallon. Like, Fairlife charges you more and you get less.
Yeah. Sneaky.
Just a little sneaky fact. Don't tell their police I told you that.
Coca-Cola's going to come after us.
Yeah, they are. But Fairlife, I don't know what it is about, but it just tastes a little more crisp than the Fairlife white milk.
Oh, Lactaid does.
Yeah, Lactaid
I think
does.
it's because they keep more, and I don't actually know this.
You
But
think it's the carbs?
Yeah, because Ruben and I both said
Yeah.
it tastes sweeter, which is just, there's naturally occurring sugars in milk, and we drank it, we're like, oh my god, this is like drinking dessert. It's so good.
Yeah. But yeah,
So, yeah.
I love Lactaid. They did have a little bit of a scare there recently. Thankfully, it wasn't in the size of product that I bought.
Yeah.
But they reacted. So, not to take them down, I'm still going to buy it.
Yeah.
But they recalled product because they thought there might have been almond in it. And I'm allergic to almond.
You're like, come on, bro.
I'm like, are you people trying to kill me?
Maybe.
Like, I'm
Someone
your
put
biggest...
a hit out on Becca.
I'm your biggest fan. What the hell? Like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? But I think Lactaid is a good example of how is lactose free enough anymore? Or like when people are buying that product, do they expect more or are they simply buying it because it's lactose free?
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting trend to follow this year, is like how many people truly just remain lactose free, and how many people are going to offer more and offer more at a higher price as well.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting innovation that I think is occurring. But some of these other like fun milks, I've never had Spylt.
Yeah, so I wrote down a lot because I've tried a lot of these in terms of a lot of them start on social media. I've had some of these sent to me. So, yeah, there's some of the obvious ones, but then there's even some different milks that I think are really cool and innovative. So Spylt chocolate milk and Sleek chocolate milk, they're different, but they're both in cans. So that in itself is kind of a really cool way.
Do you
don't
like
like
the cans?
I don't
I'm
go out of my
undecided.
way. I like it if I feel like you have to be in the mood for it, but it's a fun way to pop it open, and it kind of gets like the little tss, and you know, you pop it open like you would a can of, I don't know, like an energy drink or a soda or something. So it's fun in that way, making an experience, and carrying it around feels more normal, right? Like I'm not going to carry around a glass of milk, but I would maybe, like when I first tried Slate, because they started a couple years ago, and I got to try some of their products, and they're now in many places or even in Publix. But like I remember I took Hudson on a walk, and I had my little Slate can. So I feel like it's just something that you would feel more normal walking around with or incorporating in your day, or it's something that's even more aesthetic, because yes, that does matter. It sounds cheesy.
It does matter.
But the aesthetics matter. And I think Slate, I think they had started first, and they very kind of sleek, just minimal cans, and their thing as well is high protein, lactose-free milk in a can. And then some of their flavors do have caffeine. So they may have some like latte flavors or mocha flavors. And they're also very low fat or fat free. So it's kind of like a protein shake. And so that is, again, where it's like, hey, it's not just lactose free, but it's high protein. Some have caffeine. So it's a great way to get into the market of people who just want a easy little protein drink. And again, it's milk, but it's bougie chocolate milk, as they kind of like to call it.
And I feel like those and the Core Powers and the nutrition plans, I know Shamrock has the high protein products.
Yep.
Those are almost, in my mind, like people love a supplement.
Yes.
Or
it's an easy way.
A meal replacement or a healthy snack. So I feel like that fits in those categories versus milk I'm going to keep in my fridge to cook with or drink or things like that. And
that's a good point.
That, like, supplement trend, I'm so interested in these unflavored whey proteins, or I've even seen, like, now there's like, I keep getting served this ad on Instagram for a limoncello flavored whey-based protein.
Oh.
That it's not as like milky anymore or milk-based. So it's just interesting that like whey has gone from just kind of the traditional protein powder to now they're even getting more creative with that.
Yeah, so I would say just whey in itself, protein, right? It's not new or innovative. Well, I would say it's innovative because there's so many different flavors that people have created, right? I mean, I've been an athlete with Bowmer Nutrition for years now, and even through that time, they've had just so many different whey protein flavors, and I know most companies do. So I think that in itself is a very cool way for people to get in dairy. And it's, using something that may not get used and would otherwise potentially get thrown away. So I think whey protein in itself is very, very awesome for that. I know there's also like casein protein powder, but whey protein I would say is the most popular. And yeah, what I wrote down is now there's a lot coming out with like unflavored whey protein.
Ugh.
And so, yeah, I feel like that's something.
I don't think I'm supposed to be judgmental against this list.
No, I wouldn't drink it by itself. So that would just be like unflavored milk. I don't know what this is supposed to taste like. But I think cool ways that they've been using it is potentially adding in some like fruity flavors, which then it becomes flavored. But you're able to add it into a lot of things, and that just enhances the protein count of it. And I've even seen some different drinks, and I even Googled this because I was like, what is it technically called? So it's like flavorless whey drinks, or they call it kind of protein-infused water. So there's one on Amazon, and I've seen this before in stores, I think. It's like Protein 2.0. It's protein-infused water with electrolytes. And you would almost, I feel like, compare this to a body armor, but the protein in it comes from whey protein isolate. So, I mean, you're not just like adding milk into here, but with all the different filtering products, they're able to add in protein from whey. And again, it's another way to have people consume dairy without it being like the main part. And on that as well, while it's not necessarily for the protein part, would be GoodSport. So I know you and I have both tried GoodSport. This is an electrolyte sports drink that I would say is comparable to like a Gatorade or a Powerade, and that would be kind of the competition for it. But it has 3 times more electrolytes, and I think it's like 33% less sugar, and that's because GoodSport, through a ton of ultrafiltering, those electrolytes are coming from milk. And so it's basically a milk-based sports drink. And I know you might hear that and be like, I don't know if that sounds good, but we've tried it, and through all the ultrafiltering, it tastes like a sports drink. And it's just very cool, very innovative, and it's just crazy what science can do, because you would never know that that's electrolytes from milk, but it starts with milk, and then that's what it turns into.
Yeah. And I think even beyond the protein that people are leveraging and the electrolytes that people are leveraging, another big one, which I'm on the train of, is colostrum.
Oh, yes. I was going to type that down. I totally forgot.
Yeah. I didn't think of it either until we were talking about it, but a lot of proteins are putting in colostrum, and a lot of people are selling colostrum on its own. So colostrum is the first milk that a mother makes, whether you're a cow or a human or just like a
whatever
mammal.
you are.
Yeah. And cows will often make more than the calf needs. So then what is a way to use this like literally super food, an actual superfood, like made by nature, and people will consume it in powder or pill form usually. I know Ballerina Farms is coming out with a new protein powder that has colostrum in it.
Becca's gonna be the first in line.
Literally, I signed up. I'm like, I gotta.
Oh my god.
I gotta see if this is any good. And so, but that's like someone who has a very homestead wannabe audience that is giving people who may not have liked dairy before a new perspective on it to try the product. So I'm excited to try that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no,
colostrum, I'm
cool.
on the train. You know what? There are some things that even if I'm taking colostrum and it doesn't do as much for me as I think it's doing for me, it's something that's definitely not hurting me.
No, for sure.
know?
It's just, if spending, like we were talking about the cost, right? It's just spending the money on it if you do want to. But there are a lot of different brands out there that, and a lot of them, which is very cool, is started of course in collaboration with dairy farms, but it's a lot of like dairy farm families that are starting these brands in collaboration with other people that can help produce it.
So
very cool.
And then a few other ones you have on here. One is like whey-based spirits. I know that's like not health enhanced.
I know, so
but they're good.
Most of these they just ended up being kind of health enhanced products, but I would say even 2 categories, right? Would be the whey-based spirits, which, again, whoever thought of that, like, so clever. So, Wayward Spirit is a brand that I've seen before, and how clever. What a cool name. So, it's Wayward with the word whey in it. And they have, I think, 2 different spirits. And they call it a spirit because I don't think it can be, it's not like a whiskey or a vodka. It's a spirit because it's produced from whey. And then another one that I don't know if you can just go out and buy their products, but I know they have it at their creamery. Redhead Creamery Spirits, which is from Redhead Creamery, which they're in Wisconsin. They have a ton of cool cheese, a lot of really awesome flavors. And one of the coolest things about that is they're making cheese, which leads into whey production. So they're like, let's use this whey for something else we can sell and make. And that's where the spirits came from. So I think that is so cool. I got to try it. I never buy liquor, or I guess spirits, if you would call it this, just because at home, we don't really drink. So I just need to get it to try it, and then we'll just have it for pretty much the rest of our lives, I would say.
Oh, I love that. And then, I guess the only thing we really have here is wine and bourbon. So that doesn't really lend itself to, But then I know you love obviously we got to talk about coffee because that's something we talk about a lot. I haven't had the Dunkalattee yet.
Yeah, so I would say the last thing we want to talk about is just how it's very, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that Dairy Checkup does.
Or dairy processors. Yeah, I like that angle of how are they partnering with companies that have massive distribution.
Yeah, and so I would say a few of them right now, and there's always stuff going on. But, well, and of course Dunkin' and any coffee chain always has milk. But Dunkalattee is something that I tried and loved it. It's coffee milk with espresso, and one of my followers reached out to me. He was like, oh, hey, Dunkin' worked with DFA, Dairy Farmers of America, for that coffee milk. So again, that's a milk processing company that was like, hey, use this milk to get more milk into your coffee. And it's delicious. If anyone hasn't tried it, it's so good. So Becky, you definitely have to try. I would probably take a Lactaid with it because I'm sure it's just... I
take Lactaid before any coffee I drink from any
so I'm sure
coffee shop.
It's just a regular whole milk, but it is delicious. And again, it's another way to get more milk into what people are drinking. And then I would say two other ones that are always really awesome are big pizza chains. I mean, every commercial I see, whether it's a Papa John's or a Domino's or a Pizza Hut, it's always like, we're adding more cheese or stuffed crust or pizza cups, Little Caesars. That's always ways to get more cheese in, which is more milk. And then Becca typed it out, Taco Bell. So Taco Bell is, I feel like Becca's a big advocate for Taco Bell.
I am. They have something for everybody at Taco Bell. Like, you could feed the masses with Taco Bell. Even healthy. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Power Bowl. I'm just going to keep talking about it. But everything, they're going to like, we're going to have cheese on the inside, and then we're going to fry it in cheese on the outside. So they work with either dairy farm or like dairy processors, or organizations that have some stake in the game or support dairy in some way, that they partner in their kitchens where they decide, how can we sell more dairy?
Yep.
So I think that's awesome.
It's very cool. And again, it just goes to show that whether or not it's like, where are checkoff dollars going, or what are people doing to get people to consume more dairy, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And so I do just get so excited talking about these things because we're obviously very passionate about dairy. And while sometimes it can almost feel discouraging of like, there's so much hate out there about dairy, I do think that most people, I think it's like 96% or more of U.S. households still have dairy in their fridge. And someone correct me if that stat's wrong, but I recently just saw that. And it's very cool to see that there are companies and people still finding new ways to make it even more exciting for consumers to produce or buy.
Yeah, it's like, how can we convince people to add more into the grocery store? Maybe not even like always change their habits, because we just want to give them something new. And then how do we force more cheese upon people without them knowing it?
Easy peasy. I'll eat more cheese. But yes, I love it. And if anyone else has very cool products that you've heard of or that you're a part of, I'm always down to hear about them. I love coming across new companies and different products. It just gets me very, very excited. And now that we've talked your ear off about dairy, of course, we have to wrap it up with, I was debating, should we do a weekly hot take or weekly obsession this week? And for the life of me, I just couldn't think of anything for a hot take. And then I thought, I have a really fun weekly obsession for our girlies. And guys can watch it too. I've seen guys watch it and enjoy it. But Nobody Wants This on Netflix.
It's so good.
It's so cute. It's so good. It's a rom-com that's good. 10 episodes. They're all less than 30 minutes. So you can blow through this so quick. I binged it to and from Expo on the airplane, and I was able to finish it. And I loved it so much.
It's so cute. Okay, I love that. I love shows that are under 30 minutes and are just an easy watch. Yes, there's drama. Yes, there's highs and lows, but nothing ever gets to a point where it like makes you uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
It's an easy show, and I feel like a lot of the rom-com kind of things are very targeted towards Gen Z, or are just yes.
Yeah, because they're always like so toxic and just so
toxic.
Ugh.
It's
everyone sucks.
Everyone sucks, or it's just, I don't know. There's something about this show that feels real. Yes. It's like you can relate to it. It's kind of like whenever you finally find that one, the grown-up relationship. And plus, Adam Brody is like, okay.
Yeah, he's a cutie. And I always loved Kristen Bell.
I was like, do I want Joey to become a Jewish rabbi? Like, what? And I know the Jewish community on my Instagram loves it because it's like, yeah, it's Jewish based in a way. I mean, like Jewish or Judaism is a core tenet of this show.
Yeah.
And I think, people love that because that doesn't happen often. So shout out to our Jewish friends. This one's for you. I don't even know if I have any Jewish friends.
I know. I'm like, I don't.
Racking my brain. I'm sure we do. Just no one talks about it. Anyways, if you're Jewish, let us know. But it's just like, yeah, it's cute. It's got drama. We probably love it because it's two sisters running a podcast.
Yeah. Oh my God. But they're about to get like a big deal from Spotify. So we're not there yet.
No. But yeah, it's fun. Kristen Bell's funny. You can relate to her. And they both have character development that like you can relate to. And they grow up. And they're both good people.
Yes.
And you know what? It's a millennial relationship. Maybe that's why we like it so much.
Yeah, because I think everything with social media and like all these terrible dating shows, I don't watch reality TV because it's just like maybe randomly, but so many of them are built to be toxic and like just feed into that. And I hate that. I hate that that's the standard for relationships now. And that makes me sound like old and lame because I've been in a relationship forever. But like that Love is Blind show or Love Island. Like all those people. Like they seem like they're not promoting good relationships.
No, I mean, that's not the point of the show.
Exactly. So I feel like the standard is always like, oh, we want people to be shitty to each other. Yay. Terrible communication.
Yeah.
And this show, it's a show. It's not reality TV. So, of course, they can play it out however they want. But I've seen so many people talk about why they like it is they just have good communication, right? That's really at the root of it. Like if there's a problem or they can see one pulling away or, maybe acting out in a funky way, the other just talks to them about it, and they're just open and honest. Yeah. And it's just cool. It's like, oh, they're having a conversation about their feelings?
Like,
awesome.
How exhilarating and intoxicating. They're like having a normal, healthy relationship.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy? That's what differentiates it, is it's like a realistic, healthy relationship, even though... I mean, a big part, it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet because he's going to be a head rabbi and can he date the girl who likes to talk about vibrators on her podcast? Like, I don't know.
And
but it is funny in how they like kind of bring in a way of, I mean, I think Judaism or like hardcore religion, people like Judaism, I feel like people truly do want people to kind of either convert or remain within the religion.
Yeah.
So
I just watched Sex in the City, and Charlotte York does it. She converts.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think it's such a great show.
I know. I could keep talking about it, and I will just say...
It just makes you happy. And it makes
sexy. You giggle. Like,
it makes you giggle. It's smart, it's mature, and it's sexy.
And the first kiss in it, you'll see everyone talk about it. The Adam Brody kiss with Kristen.
Oh my God.
I hate watching people kiss. It's like sometimes can be so cringy. This is such a good kiss.
Yeah, it is. And that's really the extent of it. It's like it's smutty, but in a tasteful way.
Yeah, in like a PG way. I mean, compared to what it could be.
Yeah.
But yes, 10 out of 10. Everyone should watch.
12 out of 10.
It's so good. It's so cute,
Obsessed.
quick, easy, good communication, good standard of a relationship. And I'm hoping there's a season 2 because it not necessarily ending on a cliffhanger, but you're like, now what?
It ended on a major cliffhanger.
Yeah, of like,
especially with the grandma and the sister-in-law at the end.
Yeah.
Like, obviously.
In that last episode, and then we'll move on. I really thought, I was like, oh my God, they have so much to wrap up. How is this all going to fit in? And then it ended where, like, you got some closure, but I'm like, oh, there has to be a season 2.
Yeah, there was, So, I hope there's a season 2. And, I mean, even if there isn't a season 2, it ended enough that you can assume what was going to happen next. But, yeah.
This is our call out to Netflix. If you're listening, or Adam or Kristen.
Season 2,
please. Make a season 2.
Just, if you liked her one of her friends, Kristen Bell's friends, have you ever watched A Good Place with her in it?
Yes, she's in it. She's Janet in A Good Place.
Janet. I was like, oh my God, that's Janet.
I know,
if you haven't watched A Good Place, it's also a good show, especially if you're like religious in any way. It's
Yeah.
or spiritual. It's a good show.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's so many fun things from this episode. So now y'all are going to walk away with this from a million different dairy products you need to buy. And if there are any really cool ones that we missed, please let us know. I'm always down to see new product and try new product. And now you have a Netflix show to go binge. And I hope you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, let us know. If you don't let us know. And
DM us privately.
Yeah, come on. It's good. I can't imagine someone won't like it. But we hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to continue following along, of course, we're on all social, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Cowgirl Talk. And like we were talking about at the beginning, we always do just appreciate the support so much. Whether you're listening in your car, on a walk, or you're listening or watching technically with your family, we always do appreciate it. And
what
let
up,
us know.
Sam?
So thanks for tuning in, y'all, and letting us talk about all the things that we enjoy.
And as always, have a great day, cowgirls. Bye.
Bye.